Richard said too much of the angle, so I'm going to be staying out on the sideline.
To our other presenter. So we still have a microphone for you to use. The most important thing on this microphone is not to hold them right in front of your mouth. Hold it down here. Even if you hold
Are these seats open? Is the seat next to you open? Do you guys mind sliding just over one?
It's something I've learned. We have a lot of things that hold it down here.
There's some seats.
It's all good. It's fun.
Feeling it exploded.
That's not the first thing about that. It's not the first time.
So there we go.
So don't feel that.
You just do that.
Yours, you have to hold. And I am here for tech. If anything goes awry, I'll like jump in and help. But thank you both for doing Did it. Okay. You said the Jen. And then are you guys?
If you have an open seat next to you, can you just raise your hand? Because we have a lot of people still standing. Okay, there's a few open seats kicking around, or move in towards the center to leave those aisle seats free. That would be awesome. We're almost ready to go. All right. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Yes. My name is Jen Kretzer. I'm the Director of Climate Initiatives. I use she, her pronouns. I want to welcome you all here today to the 13th, I can't believe this, Adirondack Youth Climate Summit. Woo! 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 Before we get totally dive in, I'd like my team to come up. Come on up, climate team, and just say a quick hi and introduce yourselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hannah Barg. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the Climate Network Manager here.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Alicia Lamb. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Jeannie Hutchins Climate Program Manager here at the Wild Center.
Hi, everyone. I'm Garrett Marino. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Youth Climate Leadership Coordinator. We're all really excited to have you.
All right, so for a quick start off, I want you to just say hi to the person next to you or behind you. Give them a high five. Say, thanks for coming. Make it happen. All right, awesome. We are so happy that you're all here. I also want to note that we are live streaming from up top, so there are people around the world that are listening in right now. So turn to the back there and just wave. Hi, everybody. Woo! I know we have people streaming in from Taiwan and Malaysia from our youth climate programs across the world. So hi, everybody. If anyone wants another space to watch our live stream, the Naturalist Cabinet, which you go to the glacier, hang a left, is off to the left there, and we are live streaming all of the sessions that are here in the theater. So if you want to go hang out there and have a little quiet spot, you can. Raise your hand if this is your very first Youth Climate Summit. Woo! Okay, how many of you have been here like 8 times? Okay, what about my 13 person? Where's my 13 person? Yes, put your hands up. Yes! Yeah. Right from the very beginning. I love it. I am just so happy that you're all here. Let's just get right in. The first thing I'd like to do is a land acknowledgement. So the Wild Center is located on the ancestral lands in the original territory of the Haudenosaunee people. The original people of this place have deep knowledge of the land, gained over thousands of years of observation. As a science museum, we too gain knowledge about the natural world through careful observation about a particular place and natural system. At the Wild Center, we believe the wisdom of the Haudenosaunee people, along with their gratitude for all parts of the natural world, can guide a better human and nature coexistence. Okay, Alicia.
All right, first and foremost, we want to say thank you to our summiteers. So these are local high school students, and it would not have been possible without them. We met weekly to help plan this summit. We had 4 committees: art, logistics, grand finale, and social media. And I would like all of the summiteers to just stand up and wave. They're wearing screen printed shirts. If that's something you're interested in, we'll be able to do that later. And you can feel free to ask them questions, but also go to Wild Center staff. But yes, super big thanks to them for all of their dedication in getting the summit off the ground, as well as all of the adult summiteers that met weekly and helped plan this lovely summit. If you want to just give a wave, the adult summiteers. And to get you all excited, here's a video thanks to Rick.
Climate change is happening now. It's not our grandchildren's problem, it's our problem.
And I think like the term, like a climate summit is just going to become like a household thing.
We really need to, all of us, just take a stand and really protect what we love and live for.
Like start an environmental club at your school or go to your town and ask for a climate action plan.
In addition to that, our green team has spoken at about a half dozen different climate summits around the state, sharing our experience with the projects that we've done and how we can create a climate action plan for others to follow as well.
So the biggest thing I've probably done is a workshop teaching youth how to speak up to authority and talk about climate justice.
Together we can make our leaders take action.
Can't just dump it on a different generation because the time to act is now.
But it's really 2023. We catch a lot of things, but there's a lot happening. The Youth Climate Program, the Wild Center's Youth Climate Program, is based here out of the Wild Center, which, of course, for those of you, how many of you have been here before? Okay, but we have a lot of first-timers. How many of you is your first time here? So we are really a new kind of science center. I'd like to think of us as a mashup that connects across like nature centers, aquariums, science centers, natural history museums. We're a place where people can gather and convene and learn about what's important to science and society and then take action on it. We also help to bring people together to connect on nature and learn about their own place in the natural world. We're super excited for many of you to see our new Climate Solutions exhibit, which opened in 2022. So that we can't wait for you to explore all of that, plus all of else that we have to offer here. Our Youth Climate Summit is part of our larger Youth Climate Program where we work to engage and inspire young people around the world to make climate change action happen in their schools and communities. We do this through events like the Summit. We have youth climate leadership retreats in the summertime. We work with educators, and we will be launching a brand new Climate Teens program. Stay tuned for more information. Our Summit alumni have gone on to do incredible stuff. We had a couple of our alumni this fall at the White House. We've gone and attended the UN climate conference, the global conference. We've been there a couple of times. So this is really a place and a pathway for you to get engaged in climate action. We could definitely not do any of this work without the incredible support for our sponsors. So let's give it up for our sponsors. We are so grateful for all of their support. That's what makes this summit happen. That's what makes the program happen. And we definitely can do it. So we have a lot of amazing organizations, agencies, and people that come together and that really believe in the work that we do. I also want to acknowledge our incredible partners. So these are organizations and groups that really help to come together and work in partnership with us to make the programs happen. All right, Hannah.
All right, so as the Climate Network Manager, I have the pleasure of getting to support our international network of youth climate summits all over the world. And so if you didn't know, this summit is actually a part of a network of summits. There have been over 170 events in 9 countries and 23 US states that have used our model to create their own youth climate summit. And we actually have some people here in the audience who have run a summit in their own community. So if you're one of those people, if you can wave your hand. Yes, awesome. So we have some summit sites here. And just wanted to recognize that we have over 20 youth climate summits here in New York State, and there have been over 63 individual events here in New York State. So we've got a really great network of youth climate summits that we're excited to highlight. And if you have any questions about starting your own summit or wanting to learn more about our summit network, please come and talk to me, find me during this event. And you can also view our interactive youth climate summit map in our new Climate Solutions exhibit, so go check it out.
So now, I think it's a good time to shout out you guys. So this year we have 26 different teams coming from all across the Adirondack Park and even a little from outside. We have schools coming from as far as Utica and Troy who have come to visit, which are not short drives here. We're really great that each and every one of you made the arrangements, were able to come and showed that passion, initiative, and dedication. So here's a little map. You can kind of see just how spread out we are. But from here to Syracuse, that's like a 4-hour drive. So no small feat. And now I'd like to go over some community agreements for all of us, just to get on the same page so we can learn how to respect each other, how to hold space for one another, and how to make the most out of this really awesome event. So our first agreement is to be kind, to talk and listen from the heart. After that, we have be curious. What you put into this work is what you're going to get out of it. That's being present and just showing up today. Number 3 is be open. You may hear new perspectives and learn about new ways of doing things, and just take that all in and be non-judgmental and take this as a learning experience. After that, we have be respectful. Respect each other, respect the speakers, the space, and most importantly, the planet. Lastly, just have fun, guys. We're really excited that you're all here, and it's going to be a great couple of days, so please just make the most out of it. We also have some agreements for the adults and chaperones who are attending. This is a youth space, so we ask you to listen and take the young people here seriously, their ideas, because they are instrumental in the climate movement, and there's a lot of stuff. We wouldn't even be an organization without the amazing young people. Number 2 is to advise, not order. You can offer suggestions, but just don't tell anyone to do anything. Number 3 is move back, provide support when needed. So really, this isn't a youth-focused event, and so we're trying to forefront the young people. And as you guys, as educators and supporters and chaperones, I'm sure already do, put them in front and let them take the lead. Lastly, we ask you to help students use mistakes as learning opportunities, because all of us make mistakes. It's natural, we're human, and it's just really important to frame that in a way that's productive, because that's what we're here to do, is to learn, to meet each other, and to grow. Thanks.
Okay, so we have a few quick reminders before we transition into our amazing first plenary session. So first off, bathrooms, if you didn't see them when you came in through the main doors, are to your right through the main doors. There's a big wooden sign that you can see above them. Please feel free to take a break and use the bathroom when you need to. There's also a reusable water filling station there. So if you brought a water bottle, you can fill it up there. The registration desk and info desk area, which is right behind where you checked in, school groups, they are there. There's going to be a staff person there all day. So if you have any questions about the agenda or where something is located, if you need something, they can help you at the info desk. And there will be various activities around which you can take part in during your free time, transitions, and during dinners. There's a card on your table that has information about your name tag and your mug, and if you flip that over, it has all of the third space activities. A third space is kind of like a gathering space, an informal space for you to participate in an activity that's happening on your own time. So during breaks, during meals, please feel free to participate in those third space activities, which we'll highlight a little bit later in our session here. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to introduce our first plenary session, Roadtrip Nation Empowered State. Empowered State is a docu-series that follows 3 New Yorkers as they travel across their state to investigate climate solutions and discover how the clean energy revolution is empowering people everywhere. This group has been traveling all across the state this fall, doing screening events just like this one. And we are honored to have the 3 road trippers from the series with us today, Leila, David, and Julia. Along with others from the Roadtrip Nation and NYSERDA team. So please give a warm welcome to this group to kick off the summit. And I would like to invite Holly Monroe from NYSERDA to come up and do a little intro before we get started here with Empowered State.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the Wild Center for inviting us to be part of the program. As was mentioned, my name is Holly Monroe. I'm a member of the Workforce Development and Training team at the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, otherwise known as NYSERDA. For those who may not be familiar with who NYSERDA is, we are New York's energy office, and our goal is to help New Yorkers become more energy efficient, increase their use of renewable energy, and decrease reliance on fossil fuels. Additionally, NYSERDA is heavily invested in curating clean energy career awareness because we want people of all ages to know of the meaningful and rewarding job opportunities available in New York State, job opportunities in clean energy, which will help propel us to our ambitious climate goals as a state. And that's really why we're here today. You see, about a year ago, NYSERDA began a partnership with Roadtrip Nation to shine a light on clean energy jobs in New York State. As Hannah had shared, that included sending a team of 3 young people, the road trippers you're going to meet shortly, on a journey extending from Buffalo to Long Island. They took that journey over the course of about 3 weeks and interviewed close to a dozen clean energy leaders along the way. That journey was captured on film and made into a 4-part documentary series, along with an accompanying resource portal, which is web-based. Today, we're going to show you some content from that amazing 4-part documentary series, guide you through the resource portal, and invite you to participate in interactive activities, as well as conversations with the road trippers featured in the film. So without further ado, let me introduce Roadtrip Nation.
All right. Good morning, everybody. We're going to break out of the podium a little bit. Hey, how's everybody feeling? Good. All right. Who had too much coffee? With me. All right. Awesome. Well, my name is Ben. I use he, him pronouns. I'm originally from Rhode Island, and I'm on the events team at Roadtrip Nation. So I'll pass the mic to Jenny.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm also on the events team. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So show of hands. Has anybody heard of Roadtrip Nation before? A few people. Okay. Maybe in school or on PBS or something. We have a lot of cool resources out there. Podcasts, follow our socials, all that jazz. But Jenny and I, as the events team, we're here to kind of facilitate today, do some activities, as Holly mentioned, and obviously we have this like really cool build up to the road trippers, the stars of the show that are going to be on stage in a little bit. But Roadtrip Nation started back in 2001, so we've been out there for over 20 years having conversations with people. And really, we like to remind folks that you don't need a production team to do what we do. It's really just an informational interview. Has anybody done an informational interview with someone you think has a cool job before? I got my first job opportunity by doing an informational interview. Highly recommend it. But it's been awesome to see the interviews that we've done recently as part of this project. So every time we're out there with road trippers doing these conversations, maybe it's a particular geographic region or a theme, and this one is awesome. I mean, that looks pretty good. I'm really excited. So Jenny's gonna tee up the episode that we're all gonna watch together this morning.
Yeah. So, like Hannah and Holly mentioned, last year we sent 3 New Yorkers out on a road trip, and they explored, the clean energy revolution taking place right here in the state. And powered by NYSERDA, we filmed a new series called Empowered State. As we, learn about the exciting new innovations in clean and renewable energy through the eyes of the 3 road trippers, Leila, David, and Julia. And I'm really excited to be here today because we get to show you all an episode from that series. And a little later, Ben and I will be up to do an activity with you all, share some resources, and conduct a live on-stage interview with these special guests. So without further ado, please enjoy our episode of Empowered State.
So far, all of the places we've been to have been super cool.
Interviewing all sorts of people in clean energy.
I'm excited to explore parts of New York that I've never been to. I like driving a lot. I've definitely missed a couple turns, but they definitely give you a good opportunity to see all parts of the state and the most pretty parts of New York.
That's also been a really great and valuable part of the trip.
Just the parts that you don't plan that feel really random are some of the best parts of the trip. It really makes it feel like a road trip. Coming from the city, it's kind of easy to get stuck in that bubble. And so I think this trip has been a super great experience to kind of see the rest of New York and what it has to offer. There's a lot to see and do out here.
On one of our drives in the middle of New York, we ended up at this wind farm, and we got to hear a little bit about the farm.
As you could tell when you got here, it is pretty windy, so why not use the wind to our advantage and get some power out of it.
Those things are big.
Have you ever tried basketball?
292 feet of pure power.
292 feet of pure power.
292 feet pure power.
I'm hopeful through this road trip to learn more about what kinds of clean energy jobs are out there. I know what my job is like, but I don't know what other jobs are like. My name is Julia Dworetzky, and I'm currently working as an energy engineer in New York City. I like to explore, so something I've really been enjoying is taking out city bikes and biking around the city. There's always something to look at, something to see.
Thank you. That's what New York's all about.
So welcome to my room. Yeah, so this is my desk over here where I'll do work when I work from home. A little chair for me to, contemplate things. It's such a cute photo. Oh my God. And my mom. Hi. Good morning.
So you're in New York City. Hello, New York. And I was excited to see you. It's so nice to see your face.
Oh, all right.
Okay, love you lots.
Love you guys. Bye. In the city, I'm working a pretty 9-to-5-ish job. My days, it's mostly in an office looking at spreadsheets and writing reports for buildings around the city, trying to reduce their energy use. And so far, it's been pretty good. I've been there about a year. This My phone. No. It measures CO2 levels in spaces and humidity and temperature. In college, I really didn't know what I wanted. No career ideas. But energy was something that stood out to me as an intersection of interests. And on top of that, clean energy is cool. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. At Duke in college, I remember a project about eVTOLs, which are like the electric vertical takeoff and landing, really cool electric helicopter stuff, you know. Flying robot? Sure, sign me up. So I got chosen for the team, which was great. I was really excited about it. And the team turned out to be 7 guys and me. As time went on, I definitely was like, I kind of wish there was another girl on this team. I could not shake that imposter syndrome. Like, I still can't. There's like something that guys have about this confidence that I don't. So I'm not super sure about what I want to do or a dream role or anything like that. And that could be in clean energy and engineering, or that could not. So next we're gonna head to Plattsburgh to interview Emma Davis, who is a flight test engineer at Beta Technologies. Her experiences problem solving in aviation totally relates to stuff that I'm interested in.
Cool. Oh my, no, seriously.
Iron Man designed it. No, you know what it looks like? Out of Avatar.
It does. I felt like Spider-Man when he first walks into the SHIELD headquarters. He's like, what?
Oh yeah, this is,
Yeah, dog.
my friends are gonna be like,
The Be Real. What is that?
I'm Emma. I'm a flight test engineer here at Beta Technologies, and I help test our experimental aircraft.
That's so awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about like what made you want to go into aerospace?
I have loved planes since I was a little girl. My dad, when I was like really little, would always take me to the airport to watch planes, so I would stop crying. Basically, since growing up, I still had that passion all the way through school. So then in college, I actually wanted to be a fighter pilot, and I'm too short. So I like started Googling in college, just like flying an aircraft, not being pilot, and I found a thing called flight test engineering. I think flight test, for me personally, is the most exciting thing because I don't do the same thing each and every day, and I'm learning to fly helicopters in my free time, so I'm very happy.
How's it going?
It's good. I'm getting close. We're getting to the end stage of my actual private pilot, so.
That is so cool.
Do you guys want to come check out the aircraft?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you the full tour.
So these numbers that you see, 1 through 5, that's where a battery would go. You can look up under it.
How fast does it go?
Our current top speed is 120 knots.
Nice.
And we're able to fly it basically down all the way to Arkansas on our charge network. And honestly, the best part to me was like every airport we stopped at, like there was just a little crowd of people, or there was a big crowd of people that would like come out, and these people would be like, what is this thing? Like, is this a UFO? We're like, it is not. It's not a UFO, I swear. Definitely we have reduced emissions when you have an all-electric aircraft. I think something people get really hung up on is they look at the big picture and all very doom and gloom, but I think if we just even try to take a small step to reduce emissions, eventually that's going to make an impact, that's going to have a difference. The huge first step is being able to get an actual working all-electric aircraft that's practical and can be used for practical means and commercial means such as UPS.
What were some obstacles that you faced like just during your career that taught you like a big lesson about yourself and engineering?
Probably some of the bigger ones is imposter syndrome, which I'm sure you guys have heard about, but just like, obviously there's not a lot of women in engineering, and it's like, you're very aware of your surroundings at all times, and you know that you're the only female in the room, right? That's something that I felt often, but also knowing that you are expected to make mistakes, you're going to make mistakes. No engineer is perfect, but it's not taking that as, oh, I made a mistake because I'm a woman. Nobody's really thinking that. It's not going to reflect badly on all the other female engineers out there. It's just a part of the learning process. You know, I have plenty of male coworkers that feel exactly like I do. They might not be as vocal about it, but I bring it up and they're like, I don't feel smart enough to be here. I'm like, me neither. Like, look at us, we're all in the same boat. There are definitely other people in the room that feel exactly the same way. There are some people that don't feel that way, but...
And maybe they're too confident, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're projecting. Fine.
She was awesome to talk to. She felt like just a normal person who's just working on planes because she loves planes. In college, my project was all about autonomous charging for these eVTOLs. It's like a big puzzle, and I think that that's what drew me to engineering. So it was really cool to see one of these planes in person.
When they talked about how they can just take one of their helicopters and fly from Burlington to Plattsburgh as their morning commute, I was like, what? It was cool hearing how you can pursue what you're passionate in and end up landing this super awesome job doing cool things every day.
Thanks so much for showing us around. This was awesome.
Yeah, this was really, really cool.
Next, we're going to be talking to Kathy at Dandelion Geothermal, and I'm really excited for that. I think geothermal is so cool. I'm excited to hear how it works and where it's going.
So my name is Kathy Hanoun, and we are working to make geothermal heat pumps, which are the most efficient and renewable way of heating or cooling buildings. The goal is this would be something that a typical homeowner would choose to get instead of a furnace or a boiler.
Could you just introduce what geothermal heating is, how it works?
Sure. Geothermal heating is using what's called a heat pump. In a geothermal heat pump, you can move 3 to 4 units of heat into your house from the ground with 1 unit, let's say, of electricity. And so it's a way of leveraging a small amount of electricity to move a large amount of heat. So they do heating and cooling. You don't need any backup system. It just does everything you need, even in places where it's very cold. And I'll just try to be short, but the unique thing about a geothermal heat pump is that it's connected to these things called ground loops, which are plastic pipes that go down into the ground in your yard. And they're just filled with water, and they passively exchange heat with the ground. So this is what really differentiates a geothermal heat pump from other types of heat pumps. But the advantage there is the ground is always the same temperature year-round. So the geothermal heat pump doesn't really care what the temperature is outside, because it's just connected to the ground, and that lets it run really, really efficiently. The government of New York is finding it's very worthwhile to just pay for those ground loops up front and then experience those savings indefinitely.
What was your journey coming here?
So I wanted to work on energy or water, and I majored in civil engineering. I actually got a master's degree in computer science. But I didn't really know how to translate those interests into a job that seemed interesting, and I just didn't have a clear sense of what the path was. So I ended up joining Google in a customer support role, but my job had nothing to do with energy or water. And while it's helpful to join an energy company if you want to learn about energy, it's equally or more important to just work with really amazing people that you can learn from, that teach you how to get things done and just how to be effective in whatever goals you want to pursue. For me, when I look back at those 7 years at Google, so much of what I learned was how to have a job and be a good coworker and make data-driven decisions and present things in a compelling way and all of these skills. And I think just knowing that it is an exploration. So I left the job and started the company, and it was the ultimate test. I definitely didn't know what I was doing at all when I started Dandelion. There have been times that have been incredibly stressful, and I've never worked harder, and it tested me, right, and pushed me. But at the same time, of course, it's the most rewarding thing I could imagine. And I have no regrets, because what I wanted when I set out on my career was I wanted to do something useful. That's one of the things that made me leave Google to start it, is I just saw this potential where if we can pull this off and sort of make that profit motive totally intertwined with getting people off of fossil fuels, that could have just this incredible impact.
Would you have any advice for somebody who wants to start a business or people starting out their career in clean energy?
I think my advice would be learn about the topics in clean energy that seem most interesting to you. And then when you really feel like conviction about an idea, my advice would be like, just go for it. One skill I built in my 20s, which I highly recommend, is I put myself in situations, not infrequently, where I didn't know how to do what I committed to doing. It's like I didn't know how to set up a company legally, but you ask around and find a lawyer who can tell you how to set up the company legally, and then you learn that, and it's like you make so many mistakes along the way, but that's fine, everyone does, right? And I think just the whole company has been like that, where it's just been, well, I have to figure out how to get my employees' health insurance now, so today I will figure that out. And then you know how to do it, So just go for it. If you can just hold your breath and take the leap, you'll figure it out.
Definitely a little bit starstruck. She was talking to us, pregnant with her third child, and had this full-blown company that she started from the ground, and sorry.
She was so cool, and it was nice to talk to somebody who has humility. I really liked listening to her story.
I thought it was a great interview. I feel like her career path is something that I could see in myself, maybe. How you can have both tech and sustainability, they aren't opposites. That's reassuring to hear.
Mm-hmm.
When she talked about going for things and trying things so casually.
Pretty inspirational.
So we got to stop by Catskill Brewery.
We went to Catskill Brewery, and they have a real emphasis on their environmental practices, from geothermal heating to solar panels on the roof to reclaiming hot water heat.
I'm Mike. I'm the head brewer here at Catskill Brewery. I do like working with fruit a lot when I can, especially if there's an opportunity to work with local fruit. We brewed a beer with Eggos and maple syrup.
You ever made a hot dog one? Well, have I got an idea for you? So did you tell us what all these things are
so
for?
let's take a walk back into the tank area. This is our little tank farm. All of the ownership group really prioritizes sustainability and the environment. This area is so rich in natural resources, the mountains, the rivers, and keeping the water clean and the land clean is super important to our mission.
Cool thing was being able to see a bunch of sustainable practices and clean energy practices being implemented into a small business.
So today we're headed to Saratoga Springs
to talk with Michael Finney.
Design Group.
And they specialize in green building.
My name's Mike Finney, and I'm principal of Finney Design Group. And we're an architecture, interior design, and construction management company with offices in Saratoga Springs and Troy, New York.
Love to hear more about you and how you got to architecture, your journey there.
Yeah. So I grew up in Lake George area, and I went to school at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. I studied architecture there, but I did my thesis on environmental awareness in architecture. I was doing a lot of research back then of a lot of the issues that we talk about now. The term green building wasn't formed, it hadn't really been coined yet. And even sustainable design was sort of, well, what is that? So as a young architect, I was sort of preaching these kinds of things, and most people didn't listen to me. And then I had a boss ask me to be his right-hand man on headquarters for New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. That was a 500,000 square foot building, 13 stories, and that ultimately became the first certified green building in New York State. Shortly after that, I decided to start my own company, focusing on green design and sustainability. And I've been fortunate to be sort of at the forefront of that industry for almost 2 decades now.
What was that like, being young and trying to navigate being in charge of something? Were you confident, or?
It was tough. Yeah, I had some tough days at times, and a lot of sleepless nights. I don't know if I know all this, I got people 10, 12, 15 years older than me, expecting me to get the answer. But what I learned from that experience is that there's no such thing as perfect. And everyone makes mistakes. Everybody has good days, everybody has bad days. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, just do the best you can do. And you're gonna learn a heck of a lot. You know, just kind of stay in there.
Could you just explain like what is green building and green design, what that means?
Sure. You know, what it means to me, I think, is buildings that are responsive to their environment. And the environment can be very different. So you got to think about what these materials, how they're going to react to that, right? In our location, Northeast New York, one of the common sense things is geometry. We can have 30 below zero and 0% humidity, and then we can have 110 degrees and 100% humidity. We think about sun angles, right? The sun angle in the summer is much steeper versus the winter it's lower. So we'll design roof overhangs and where we place glass so that we can passively heat and cool the building, right? So we want as much of that sun penetrating deep into the building in the wintertime when you're usually heating. And then in the summertime when you usually want to be cooling, we block the summer sun. But now I'm really interested in things that are more about biomimicry. You know, can you build something that actually promotes and enhances the natural environment, right? Or mimics the natural environment, that buildings can actually be like a tree or be like a plant. They can clean the air, which I think is the future of buildings. And I think it has come a long way. You know, people are becoming more aware of all this stuff, and they're saying, well, no, you have to do it. Of course, we're gonna save energy. And so that's great. That's what you want to see happen, right?
We just talked to someone who does like electric aircraft, so it's like, it's spreading everywhere.
It is. Electric boats are coming, and they're now getting to a point where they're pretty reliable.
Yeah, when we went to Niagara Falls, we went on an electric boat, and it could like spin 360 on it. It was so cool.
And it's quiet. Working in sustainability, it's about the long-term vision. And so you've chosen a path that, you know, has potentially some really big impacts long-term. Right, not only for you as a career and something rewarding, but the world in general. Something led you to, this is what I want to be part of. Don't lose the fire in your gut as to why you did it.
Thank you so much.
Michael Finney also built the bio building at the Wild Center that we visited.
That building creates way more energy than it consumes.
The Wild Center is actually the first LEED certified museum in New York State.
It's kind of just like a stamp of approval that shows this building is sustainable.
You know, wow, way to be a trailblazer.
Into a different world, can you see me?
The Wild Center was full of like these animals, and the otters were so adorable.
Quack.
And disappeared through the cracks in my brain into a different world.
So we're halfway through our trip, and it's been a good first half. It felt like just this momentum that clean energy has, it's just found its way to every field.
Today we'll be making shiitake hash and rice.
Yes, chef.
And my
Yes, chef.
How's it cut? Is that half a teaspoon of salt?
You wanted a job. You wanted a job.
On this trip, I'm still looking forward to exploring people who identify the same ways I do and look like I do and see how they navigate the world. That would be so cool to see.
It's good to see what the variety of jobs can look like in this space, and even in my current job, I can bring some of these things back there.
It's really hot.
The first half of this trip has shown us some really cool things in the field of clean energy, but it's also brought up some questions on, is this feasible and is it going to continue in the future? And I just really hope those questions can get answered in the second half of the trip.
halfway through our road trip, interviewing people in the clean energy industry.
I'm just looking forward to exploring people who identify the same way as I do and see how they navigate the world.
There is brilliance in our communities.
This is really cool. I'm really glad we got to talk to you.
All right. Who enjoyed that? Yeah. Who's still waking up? It's okay. So am I. All right. So we've got a couple of questions and some fun swag to give out. So if you know the answer, just raise your hand. And we can start off easy. Which one of you can remember one of the names of the road trippers? I'll go back here. Yes, Dave. Oh, you got the last name too. Awesome. Okay, who can name the second road tripper? Right here in the middle. Julia. And last one, I'll go over here in this section. Who's the third? Yes, Leila. Awesome. Good job. Who can, okay, for a solar charger, who can tell me what one of the careers that were featured in the episode? Wow, you are fast right over here. Yes. Test piloting electric. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. And then last question, I would love to hear what your understanding of clean energy is. If anyone has. Over here.
Not just like making sure we can.
Absolutely. That's a great answer. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll have more opportunities to get some more swag later, but I'm just gonna go over here. Can you all hear me over here? Yes? Okay. Try to do two things at once here. Okay, so today really is all about you. You know, this is the youth space, like we mentioned earlier. And we're going to learn a little bit more about what you're interested in, you know, how to define your own road in life by exploring different careers that are built around your interests. Okay, we're going to show you some resources on a website called a community portal where you can energize your career and transform the future. And our goal today is to address two questions. First question is, what kinds of careers are out there? And the second question is, what can help me reach my goals? So, here. So throughout this event, we're going to be doing an activity with you all, sharing some resources, like I mentioned, that has local resources and opportunities for you to explore different careers right here in the state. And then we're going to show you how to reach out into your local community and have that conversation with an onstage interview. In New York here, you know, clean energy is really creating so many different opportunities for you all, like you saw in the film. So we're going to keep that theme in mind of clean energy throughout the event. So I'm going to bring Ben up to introduce an activity that we're all going to go through together. Let's give it up for Ben.
Check, check, 1, 2. Okay, awesome. Activity time. Did everybody get a card? Did anybody not, let me ask this, did anybody not get one that needs one? Because we're happy to pass one out. Wow. All right, kudos to everybody that was passing out cards. Well done. It's a lot of people. Well, fantastic. Yes, I am excited to do this activity with you. It's one of my favorite activities that we do at Roadtrip Nation. And today we've kind of already taken that lens of clean energy for you. You can always do this interest activity outside of that and broaden it at a later time. But for today, we're gonna focus on clean energy. So the interest activity. Kathy, one of the leaders you all interviewed, she had a quote in there, and I tried to write it down really fast, so I'm going to paraphrase, but it was something about, like, I couldn't figure out how to take my interests and convert that into a job that was interesting. So keep that in mind as we do the interest activity. And we're going to talk about you. So a few things I want you to think about. Obviously, we're all here with a very common theme and purpose already, but think about those things that are interesting, that light you up at your core, that you like to do, whether it's part of school, outside of school, and how we might be able to translate those into a career. So we have this, it's a little bit cut off, but you have 2 circles on your interest card, on the activity side of the card. If you have a writing utensil, you can go ahead and fill it in if you haven't already. We're going to give you some time to do that and talk to the folks next to you. So a couple of examples. The one that's on there obviously is construction, and we saw some really great architecture and design and construction related themes already that you interviewed with Michael Finney. But the one on here, obviously, we have the sustainability architect, but then a solar panel installer. These are just some ideas to start to get you thinking about how might I take the interest of clean energy or working in the field of clean energy in some way, shape, or form, and another interest of mine, and find a job that has those interests in common. So later we'll show you how you can use some of the resources at Roadtrip Nation to see all the people that we've talked to and how they've been able to find a way to integrate their interests in their career. You heard some of those examples already. But we're going to give you some time to do that for yourself. So write some down. Talk to the folks around you. If you can't think of like, how can I combine this with clean energy, maybe ask the person next to you. Maybe we can all kind of brainstorm some ideas. And we'll give you a couple minutes. I don't have any music to play. Play some music in your own mind as you start this activity, and we will jump back in with some examples in just a minute. Okay, 2 minutes on the clock. Go.
If somebody needs a writing utensil, we've got a couple extras. So.
Do you want me to help?
Yeah.
Does anybody need a writing utensil? People are like, I already figured out how to like take this on Snapchat thing. The digital version of this. Thank you. Okay, cool. I was going to ask guys. Aircraft. No, I'm good. Yeah, feel free if you all want to go mingle with students and you're down, you're welcome to, or just chill. Yeah, you want it? I was thinking too at the start. You were all over that episode. I love it.
I'm not sure there should be.
How are you all doing over here? Got some good ideas cooking? Anybody stumped? Oh, that's all right. Yeah, that stumped on the spelling. We'll get through it. It's all good. But oh, very cool. Awesome. Yeah, I love that idea. Like integrating that in clean energy. Got some more. Oh, okay. I got it. Okay. That blew my mind. Did you like already know like right off the bat, or you're like kind of new? You did? What'd you have? Wow. Okay. Awesome. And representation. I love that. Very cool. How about you all? Policy side? Okay. Yeah. Super cool. Yeah, I'm curious. We'll have to ask the road trippers if they interviewed anyone on that side, since this kind of had like a clean energy lens. But like obviously that turns into the policy stuff really quick, like everything going on with the wind farms and like stuff like that. So, how about you? Yeah, that's really fascinating. Probably learn a few things from just this building alone, right? In fact, hey, what's up? How do y'all do? And tomorrow, our friends at NYSERDA will have a video and like prizes and me, actually me either though, so I'm leaving today. Yeah, we'll get you some stickers for sure. All right. Really? No way. Where'd you go? Really?
Yeah.
And you both said yeah, like the exact. That was. Wow. Same. Love it. All right, we got a lot of awesome ideas. All right, we're gonna wrap things. I love the creative energy. Keep writing these things down. Maybe don't erase it, but like make another one. Keep doing this over and over and over again. And so many of the people we talk to that are even well established in their careers are still doing this. They're still figuring out like how to continue evolving their interests and integrating that with their work. So we're gonna take a couple of examples. If anybody wants to share, we have some swag. So we heard a lot of great examples, but who would like? You all are one person with the same answer. So go ahead, let's hear it. What is it?
So I said working with kids, and then I said climate educator.
Nice. I actually said education, and even though we didn't know each other, we both wrote climate educator.
And there was no copying.
There was no copying.
Wow. Okay. All right. No cheating. Okay. That's incredible. Climate education, huge area for you to apply those interests. And my encouragement would be go find some climate educators to talk to, ask them what you should be studying, how to get into the career, etc. All right, let's hear yours. Yeah. Culinary and green kitchen. That's really cool. So finding some way to integrate both clean energy and cooking, which is your passion or interest. That's super cool. I love that idea. All right, let's take one more. Who else? I've done this section. Yeah, in the back here, purple sweatshirt. Animals and outdoors. Environmental conservationist. Love it. Super cool. All right, let's give a round of applause for all of those examples. Amazing. Okay. Well, yeah, again, to reiterate, this is an ever-evolving activity that you can come back to, try different interests, integrate different pieces of who you are, and find maybe some jobs that you either know exist or you didn't even know exist based on those interests. So, all right, Jenny, where are we going next?
Cool. All right, so now that you've explored some of your interests, we're going to dive a little bit more and learn what other careers are out there through the community portal. So let me just do a little demo here. All right, so there are a lot of opportunities here for everyone to take part in shaping the future of clean energy. And whether you're starting out, making a career change, or just leveling up. And to show you what's possible, we actually talked to New Yorkers who are leading the clean energy revolution here. So get inspired by their stories, use these resources to start planning your own. Here you can explore in-demand careers and see what a day in a life is like for these professionals, so with these short video clips. And when you're starting to think about your future, it can be like really overwhelming. So hearing advice and stories from other people is super helpful. Remember, even the most successful people have once been in your shoes. So we're gonna check out one of these leaders here. So we talked to a lot of New Yorkers here. So we're gonna go up here to Elizabeth. If you click on the leader profile, it'll take you to a profile where you can learn a little bit more about their journey. You can learn about their milestones, the road in life that they took, education, the career that they had, and some of the hurdles that they overcame. So any of those leader profiles that you click on, it'll have the same structure and you can learn a little bit more. So we're gonna go ahead and watch a clip from Elizabeth.
I'm the executive director of UpRose. UpRose is the oldest Latino community-based organization in Brooklyn. It was founded in 1966. We work at the intersection of racial justice and climate change, and we are a Black, Indigenous, women of color, intergenerational, matriarchal, leaderful organization. And I sort of fell into this work. I'm a civil rights lawyer. I was doing organizing against police misconduct. And I came to this organization when it was about to fold, and people came in and said that they were about to expand the Gowanus Expressway and that they couldn't breathe. And you can't fight for justice if you don't fight for the right to breathe. And so the climate movement likes talking about how we move a little slower, but we integrate. We tell our community climate change is going to exacerbate all of the isms, all of the inequities, because it's cleaner, it's easier to talk about infrastructure, to talk about policy, without talking about the challenges that our communities face every single day of their lives. And the fact that those challenges come out of these things that created the climate crisis. And so I work nonstop, because for me, it's not a job, it's a life. I'm fighting for the 7th generation yet unborn. And I fight, and I challenge, and I take risks because I have big ovaries, right? And I go into places and I say the things they don't want to hear, because literally what's at stake is survival. I'm not a founder of the movement. I'm not one of the elders in the movement. I just came to it because the community said this is what we need.
All right. It's the moment you all have been waiting for. We're going to introduce our special guests from the clip, from the episode. And I'll say that you saw one of the episodes, so you got to know a lot about Julia and her backstory. You sneak peek. You gotta watch the other episodes to get the backstories on the other road trippers. So I'll have them come on up and introduce themselves a little bit further. Would you give it up for the road trippers?
Oh.
Can we hear you, Leila?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I'm Leila. I currently go to Elmira College. I study sociology and anthropology and a minor in environmental science. And I just like people. I like organizing. That Elizabeth Iampier interview was my favorite interview. Yeah.
So cool. All right. David, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm David. At the time of filming, I was a student in my senior year of college studying computer science and sustainability. And yeah, that's why you kind of heard me allude to combining tech and sustainability. And now I work in the tech world, but still, sustainability is something that I'm passionate about, something that I'm here for. Yeah.
Awesome. And Julia, you want to say hello? We got to hear a lot about you in that clip, but
You guys have gotten plenty.
anything that wasn't represented in that clip that you want to share?
Hello, I'm Julia. I'm doing the same job, and all is pretty good with me, so I'm glad you guys are here.
Well, we can't wait to dive in and hear a little bit of the behind the scenes of the road trip and some of your favorite interviews and themes that came out of it. So you're doing the same job, but can you tell us, just remind us what that is now and maybe what interests got you into that? We heard a little bit about that, but.
Yes, so I'm living in New York City. I graduated college 2.5 years ago now, but I am working as an energy engineer. I majored in mechanical engineering undergrad, and this energy engineering job is basically all about buildings in New York City and trying to figure out how to make them more efficient. So it's a lot of field trips around the city, going into buildings and trying to figure out, problem solve, how to make them more energy efficient, but also make it financially make sense. So it's been really interesting and a great first job. And what got me there was definitely a vested interest in the environment in general, not necessarily clean energy, but the engineering interest and the environmental. That seemed kind of like a good intersection, clean energy. So yeah, and I'm still here, so something's working.
Yeah. And David, how about you? You're working in tech now. What's your favorite thing about what you're doing currently?
Yeah, so I think just starting out, learning is something that I'm kind of focused on right now, like learning how to be an adult, learning how to like just have a job. That's kind of been at the top of my mind. And just the idea of like, oh, you don't need to know where you're going, what you're doing. It also figures itself out.
It kind of comes back to that Kathy clip where she's talking about that first job, just figuring out how to have a job and be a coworker, and then figure out how to kind of do the interest activity again, and then take another step.
Yeah, exactly.
Super cool. And Leila, what are you most excited about at the current moment?
I actually got a job recently.
Come
I'm
on.
a fellow for NYC2. It's pretty cool. I'm also doing the same thing. I'm just kind of like trying to figure out how to pay for stuff and like, be a student and work at the same time. And yeah, I'm just really excited that I have a job. Like that's still crazy to me. And I'm excited to graduate next year.
Yeah.
Really excited, so.
Cool. Leila, I know in the episode you had mentioned like you want to find other people who identify as you, and other people who look like you. Can you touch more on that and like dive a little deeper, and maybe people you've met along the way that make you feel comfortable to like, take up space and show up as yourself?
Gotcha. I wanted to meet more people who looked like me and identified as me because I entered college and it felt like sustainability and environmental science was like a white thing. And it really like unsettled me because there were no other Black folk in my classes, no other trans folk in my classes. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, we're the ones who are gonna be really badly affected by these things. And we're the ones who are going to get the full throttle of the consequences of climate change. So I just wanted to meet more people, and I was struggling at the time with finding people who were in like the environmental nerdy space, who were also brown and trans. And when we went to Soulfire Farm, that was like super cool to me, because I want to have a farm and I want to grow a bunch of food and share it with people. And that's literally what they were doing. Like 75% of them were queer, and they were all just gardening and talking to their animals. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, that's so cool. And also, I really want to do the outreach, talk to more trans people, talk to more Black people, because they're my community. So, yeah, pretty much.
Thank you for sharing that. This question is for David. So David, I know we talked a little bit about this on our ride yesterday, but growing up, what got you interested in what you're doing now? And what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome or that you were faced with on your journey to get to where you are now?
Yeah, I guess I can talk more about what got me into sustainability, that area. Both my parents studied geophysics in graduate school, and so growing up, they were big proponents of going outside, looking at rocks. And so I think just being in that kind of environment growing up taught me the value of the outdoors, the environment. Growing up, I also worked in a rock climbing gym for a little bit. And so if you think about the people who work at rock climbing gyms, they're usually, fans of the outdoors, keeping it clean, that kind of stuff. Thinking about like the obstacles that I kind of faced, I think growing up, I'm from St. Charles, Missouri, which is a pretty white area. So growing up, I had that struggle of trying to figure out like the community that I really like identified with, what like community I consider myself a part of. And Elizabeth, actually, her interview was like amazing for that. I got shivers just like hearing her voice. But yeah, just like getting way to like connect to like my heritage while also like understanding my background. My parents' background as like immigrants was some part that I thought a lot about in college when I finally moved out of Missouri.
Thank you. I guess just a moment of pause. I forgot to even start this conversation off by saying thank you all for just being so vulnerable and opening up on camera and like just sharing your lives with us, because I think it's really an awesome portal into not only what you're experiencing and but the leaders as well. And it takes this is just really textbook Road Trip Nation like we have conversations. It's not like an interview, right? And so when you all are so vulnerable with the leaders, it really helps them go to this deeper place where we can all learn and glean from their experiences. So thank you, and thanks for all of that. On the yeah, right. You talked about reaching out into community, finding other people that you want to talk to. Did you all get to do any of the booking of the interviews, or did you have we had Road Trip Nation help on that front?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I just pretty much, they were like, who do you want to talk to? And I was like, brown people. And then they were like, and they just did it. So I guess kind of, I think I recommended Soul Fire Farm.
Very cool.
Elizabeth Ampere was like completely out of, like, I didn't think we were gonna talk to anybody like that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I didn't expect that. But yeah, I guess kinda.
But so whatever they did, what did they do? This? Like y'all can do that, right? And I know you said there's definitely obstacles, and there's, you're trying to find the people that, maybe there's a specific person you want to interview, and you're like, oh, I can't find him. But then, David, you touched on something else, which is like how cool it was. Maybe it was cool. I don't know. Your parents telling you to look at rocks and stuff, but like having maybe Julia is interested in rocks, right? You talk to David's parents and glean that information, right? So I think it talks to at Road Trip Nation, we're like, go out into your communities. Be open to talking to people and asking those questions. And if you hear somebody's neighbor has a really cool job that works in clean energy in this way, shape, or form, go talk to them. Hey, can I take you out to coffee and just ask you about your job? So let's come back to one of the big themes in this episode, if you don't mind, Julia. You talked a lot about imposter syndrome. It's been a year since we filmed that episode. How are you feeling in your work? And I guess too, like what is your most exciting part of your job? There are some people in the audience that really want to ask you about your job specifically, because they have interests in building and architecture and design. So,
yeah, I don't think I've talked to a lot of people about imposter syndrome, especially since the show came out, because it's kind of one of, I'd say, my themes in the show is kind of talking about feeling like an imposter, especially women in STEM, women in engineering. I think that that's a big topic. But I think that the best piece of advice I probably received from my aunt immediately after the show, she's I don't know, some high-level doctor type, and she was like, yeah, everyone feels that way, but you need to fake it. Like, you just keep going. You'll be fine. Like, you can feel that way, but I think you kind of just need to acknowledge it and just fake it, and you'll be fine. And I feel like it does kind of gloss over that feeling, but she's also right. You're in a job, you're getting paid to be there a lot of the time, hopefully. And I think that she's right about that, you don't know what that means, you can ask and just be confident in asking, or you can Google it immediately after, or ask your confidant or something like that, but you don't need to feel insecure about being there, because you got hired, you're there, you're already there. So I think that my confidence has only grown through doing this experience, being on a job longer, I feel a lot more confident in the space. So I don't remember what the second part of the question was about my job. What is the most exciting part of my job, maybe? I mentioned before going to buildings as part of my job, and I'd say that's the most exciting. As part of my job, we're looking at like equipment a lot, the stuff that's running on your fossil fuels, on your electricity, whatever. So I'm down in the basements of these massive commercial office buildings in the city. And sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's like you're seeing cockroaches or interacting with like someone who seems like they haven't seen the light of day in like 20 years. But no, but it feels like you're in this different world because everything's operating so smoothly, in the office space. But then you're down in the basement. It's like, this might break down tomorrow. I don't know. Like, should we replace it? Should we fix it? Like, what should we do? And I think learning about that has been exciting for me, and learning about the ways that you can, I guess, solve, fix, come up with solutions is what makes me excited about this, because someone does need to be down there looking at an old boiler and trying to figure out how to make that old boiler more efficient. We don't just need to be putting in new solar panels everywhere, new technology. What's already working in building needs to be fixed right now. So it's not always the most sexy, but it needs to be done. So that's probably what's the most exciting about my job. Yeah.
All right. This is my favorite question to ask road trippers because I'm really curious to hear. And this is for all three of you. Was there a moment that was like a highlight for you from the trip that didn't make it into the docuseries? I'd love to hear about that. We can start with you, Leila.
I think, wait, hold on. I need to think a little bit.
Or we can start with David.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a hard one. I feel like a lot of our most fun parts made it in. But I think we were kind of talking about this earlier, but just like all the in-between time, like most of the road trip was like driving, right? And like being around these two, which is great, by the way. But yeah, just like being in the car with them and yeah, like just talking, getting to know them as people. Because, I mean, we're pretty like different people from very like different backgrounds. So it was just awesome getting to meet them. Especially when like they didn't have the little like cameras in the cars. Because like sometimes they'll have like GoPros there if they want footage. Can't really, bond with that camera filming you. So sorry, guys. Yeah.
I think my favorite part that didn't get like captured was just like learning from these two, because like I was the youngest one there, and like I didn't really like, I was just out of my freshman year of college, like just the start of sophomore year of college, and I still didn't really know what to expect, right? Because it's like the first year of college is kind of like, ooh, but the second year of college is like for real. But I wasn't sure. I mean, all of it's for real, but you know what I mean. So just like learning from them and like seeing what their college experience was like, and seeing what like their experience in the workforce was like, just like, and hearing about their lives, like just learning from each other. Like we just still have a lot to learn from each other, and that's cool.
All right, so I was gonna say yes, I agree. But I think that my favorite moment that didn't make it on film, you might have seen that we did go to Niagara Falls, which was really cool, and they have this like awesome interactive museum there that I didn't know was part of Niagara Falls. But we couldn't film, but this kind of goes in the same vein as what excites me about my job. They were able to take us on a tour of the Niagara Falls hydropower plant. So we went like down into the depths of the power plant, but I think that, I was obviously nerding out, but I would say we were all like, what? Like, this is crazy. I mean, it's like this massive, you're at the top of the falls. It's like a little bit down from like the main falls area, but you don't even realize like how far underground this whole operation is going. So that was really fun. That's when I hit my hard hat, or had hard hat. Is that what it's called? Hard hat. Yeah, but that was really, really cool. But we couldn't film down there. I'm not sure why, but did make it in. So that's just for me, I guess.
So cool. All right, we want to give you all an opportunity to ask some questions. So if anyone has audience questions, just raise your hand. Yeah, and we have swag too if you've got some questions to ask these road trippers. Okay.
I saw that it was an electric car. Was there any like drawbacks or advantages of having?
Yeah, I guess normally Road Trip Nation, I think they do the road trips in these giant big green RVs. But, you know, doing a clean energy road trip, you can imagine the optics of having, you know, something that just guzzles diesel. Wouldn't it be great? But no, I think like driving the vans was super fun, mostly because I think it would have been easier than driving the RV, especially when we're in the city. But yeah, I think you do kind of lose an aspect of like all being trapped in this giant RV together. But I think also having the private time between just us three without the crew there were some of my favorite moments that I talked about in the last answer too. So that's a plus.
I mean, I can't really say much because I was on aux most of the time. I wasn't really driving. But it was just, yeah, it was nice because there was no cameras in there. It wasn't an RV. We would just drive to the place we were staying at and then just chill there. And we could have our own alone time. It was really nice. So, yeah.
It's a good test, and hopefully the future of road trips would be a lot easier to like charge vehicles as we do these trips. So it's a good first test. I saw a few hands in the back here. Yeah. The most educational part of the trip for you?
I can probably answer this for myself. I definitely went into this trip thinking about technology and coming from my engineering standpoint and stuff like that, but I learned by far the most about environmental justice and all these really important issues that need to be taken into consideration with this clean energy revolution and clean energy transition. So it's a major takeaway for me and really important.
I think the most educational part for me was that, like, whatever you choose to do, like your major or your job, it's not set in stone. Nothing you do is really that deep. You can change your major, you can change your job. I mean, obviously with some planning. But like, you know, like I just went in thinking I'm gonna be an environmental science major, that's all I'm gonna do, that's, you know, but then I realized, like, I don't really wanna take chemistry classes anymore. And I was like, is that making me happy? Like just reassessing like who you are. And it's okay to do that, like reassess the parts of who you are and like the things that you like. Like you can still like certain things without it making your entire.
For sure. Yes, next question. Favorite interview and why?
My favorite interview was with Elizabeth Yampier because I felt like she just knew a lot about culture and history in general, and then that translated to her like really, really relating to me in ways that I've never been seen. Like I've just never been seen in that way before, and that really like motivated me to seek out people who like really understand like what I go through on the daily as a brown and trans person, people who really understand what it's like to be in STEM, like things like that. Just like, yeah, it was just amazing. I've never felt seen that way before. And she made me cry, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Leila on this one. I think Elizabeth, our interview with Elizabeth Yampier was like kind of the first time where I could, you know, step back from all this focus on clean energy and all these awesome technologies they're doing and just reflect on, you know, how I'm doing as a person. It was like an opportunity where I felt like very vulnerable, where I could share a part of my background, you know, coming from immigrant parents that I didn't really get a chance to talk to with like any of the other leaders.
It was a really impactful interview. I would recommend watching it. But, well, first of all, electric planes, really cool. Just first of all. But another interview that comes to mind for me, we interviewed a man named Kareem Berry. He works on this initiative called MAP, and it's all about like apprenticeships for getting people into the trades, like young people, especially from like lower income communities around Albany. And he was just a really, really cool dude. Like I don't know. I think that we're all like, yeah. So I think that he definitely comes to mind, and he was doing really impactful work and was just like, yeah, I'm just doing it. So I like that interview too.
Awesome. Okay. Your hand's been up for a while over here. Yes. Place that you would have liked to go to that you didn't get to go to.
I wish we could have gone out to see the offshore wind installation. We had to look at it from the beach, and I was like, why aren't we going out on a boat? I want to go see it, but they said that it's like 60 miles offshore, so that's not happening today. So that was too bad.
I agree with that. There were some things we just like, we couldn't see in depth. Like that, definitely, I wanted to see that. Huge nerd alert. Oh my goodness. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, this one's a bit more lame, but I think originally we were planning on going to this one park in Staten Island that was an old landfill like dump that they turned into this whole new like urban park, and I was really excited to see that, but I think it didn't fit in the schedule in the end.
Called Fish Kill?
Fresh fish, something like that. Yeah.
All right. So part 2 next year.
Yeah.
Okay. We have time for about one more question. Yeah.
I was going to ask, like, were there any difficult?
Pretty smooth sailing with the van. It was a hybrid vehicle, right?
Yeah, it was hybrid.
Yeah, for that one. Yeah.
I think, funnily enough, at like the Niagara Falls like power plant, they had these like electric chargers in the parking lot, and we just could not figure out how to get that to work. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah, that's a good question though, right? It's something that we'll be on the lookout for, and can't wait for those fully electric RVs. All right, want to wrap with a final question for the road trippers?
Yeah. So I know this was a question that you all asked the leaders, but coming full circle here, what is one piece of advice that you have to share with us, everyone here today, that they can leave here with?
My biggest advice is like, all of this is made up. Like we were talking about imposter syndrome, like all of this structure around being a woman, being trans, being brown, whatever you may be, it's all made up. So like, and yes, we have to figure out how to function in a world where there's this hierarchy, but like nobody is above you, nobody is under you. You can literally be anywhere, wherever you want, like take up space. It literally does not matter. We just created all of this to rationalize it or whatever we were trying to do. So yeah, all this is made up. Just do you.
I think my bit of advice, I kind of touched on it a bit, but just, you don't need to know, your plan, your future. You don't need to know where you're at, where you're going. You should just follow what interests you, and yeah, you'll end up someplace that you enjoy.
Yeah. I would say that I think that you, like as a young person, all my experiences so far, if an opportunity comes your way or you see something, just go for it, apply for it, talk to the person, try it out. That's how I ended up doing this experience. That's how I ended up with my job. Ben was talking about, have you ever gone out and done an informational interview? I think my grandma, I was like looking for a job. My grandma was reading her town's newspaper, and like someone did like a tool to find geothermal in houses, and she wrote him a letter, and she was like, can you talk to my granddaughter? And I talked to him, and he offered me a job. So, and that's what my job is now. So I just think but I talked to a million other people through that process, and I'm still in touch with some of them. So I think it's just always trying out that thing. Apply for the thing, you might get it, you know? Like be on the listserv, and then you'll get an email about a road trip to be filmed for 3 weeks, and then you'll go do the road trip, and then you'll be here. So, you know, you'll get a lot of no's, but go for it. You never know. So that's my advice.
Thank you. All right, thank you all so much for contributing your stories, being vulnerable. Thank you, Leila, David, and Julia. Can we please give it up one more time for the road trippers? Awesome. So, like we said, you know, you don't need a production crew to reach out into your local community. Have a conversation like we just did. And that is one way where you can find ways to help you reach your goal. But another way is I'm just going to do, you know, a quick recap of the community portal that we looked at earlier today, and just show you a little bit more. Okay, so like we looked at earlier, you can explore in-demand clean energy careers in New York by these videos. You can hear more stories from these leaders. And you can also listen to more candid advice on finding your path in clean energy with these other short videos that we have here. And if you scroll down a little bit more, you can take that next step on your career path. So this is where you can find job opportunities right here in New York or browse green job opportunities. And if you're not ready to take that leap, there are local resources, you know, provided by NYSERDA to help you take that next step and get you that training, education, and support that you need. So utilize this community resource. It's available for you all, you know, today to use. And we have it on the postcard that you all that we all gave out to you all today. And yeah, so that's just a little recap of the community portal, but I'm gonna bring Ben up here and we're just gonna recap what we talked about today.
Yeah, so recapping the interest activity, right? We talked about that first question that Jenny teed us off with of what jobs are out there, right? So for some of you, you're not sure what job you want, like let's go look for them. And maybe that job doesn't even exist yet. Start with your interests and continue to ask really awesome questions. If you find someone working in a career that sounds interesting to you, ask them some questions. So that's the first question that we recapped. And then how do I reach my goals? Jenny talked about, you know, the resources, the QR codes there. You have the card to take with you. So check them out. And then the other episodes of the film.
Yeah, and that's it. So if you look on the other side, and you can see the QR codes right there, one is to watch the rest of the docuseries. I highly encourage you all to go home, watch the rest of the episodes, learn more about, you know, Leila's and David's backstory. And then the other QR code you can use today to just get on that community portal, look at different local resources and links, and just explore a little bit more.
Yeah. All right. Well, we just want to say thank you to everyone who helped put this event together and for having us. So thank you so much. And to NYSERDA, our friends over at NYSERDA, for making all of this possible. And thank you, you guys, everybody here, for paying attention and, you know, exploring these interests and careers with us, and obviously the road trippers. So give yourselves a round of applause, and thanks so much.
Yes, thank you all. Cool.
All right, let's give it up one more time for Road Trip Nation. That was amazing. For once in the summit history, we are ahead of schedule, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Okay, so we have a couple more announcements and things, so we're gonna pull those up and get our slides going. But feel free, if you need to stand up, take a little stretch break, this is a good time to do that. So please feel free to stretch your body a little bit. We'll get this pulled up for y'all. Wait, don't leave though. We do actually have some announcements. You can stand up in your seat and stretch.